maybe, you know, if you're a really brilliant artist, people will sort of take you because you're there and because they see the talent. But for maybe 99%, it's hard work. It's getting your name out. It's getting known and getting to the right places. And for that, you have to understand the market. Yeah, I'm Jurjen Mooijer from the Netherlands. I work at a Good Music Company. It's a company, a live music agency. We started it 10 years ago, nearly 11. And I'm co-owner, started with my friend Mike Windrawan. And we book mostly American artists, also a few Europeans, and we do mostly European tours. Started really small in the Netherlands, Benelux, then added Germany, Switzerland, and then at one point we were booking all over Europe. And now for some artists we also book worldwide, do some artist management, expanded a little bit, also legal consultancy, and that's yeah, that's sort of it. But it's a handful. Let's put it that way. Well, yeah, it was a session. I sort of gave a lecture for 50 music students, conservatory students, from, I think, the 6 partner countries. So Slovenia and Poland, France, Norway and Holland. Well, what I tried to do is to tell them how I experience the scene, what I do in my daily work, the conversations I have with the different people in the scene, talk about money, how to use it to your advantage, but also how to sort of make a tour, what you have to think about, talk a little bit about the taxes, basically the whole system and the whole scheme that I perform in, basically for the artists to do what they do best, and that is perform their music around Europe, which they all aspire to. So I tried to give a little bit of an insight from my side, and yeah, we had a nice discussion as well on how the scene looks or the industry, and what they run into or maybe feel like they need to acquire to make a next step. I think you can't do without it. Of course, an artist at first, you know, creates from their source, you know, and from their creativity. So, and I think a role of anyone working in the industry is sort of subordinate to that. But in the industry, it's most of the time it's turned around. So, you know, at the end we think of the artist, or at the end the artist is getting paid. While my strong feeling is that the artist is the one that creates, so we are all accommodating that. But that doesn't, let's say, leave the notion that an artist also should understand how the rest of the world looks at what they do and how we can shape that. So if they don't know about how a promoter decides who to take on their program and through their season, if they don't understand that, then it will be I think a little bit more difficult for them to actually perform and work on their career. And I think that's their ambition, and that's why they started into the music. So maybe, you know, if you're a really brilliant artist, people will sort of take you just because you're there and because they see the talent. But for maybe 99%, it's hard work. It's getting your name out. It's getting known and getting to the right places. And for that, you have to understand the market. I think I told the students yesterday as well, I think my role is to make them care about the music and only worry about the music. If that's the end result, then I think I do a good job. So, you know, in a way, I'm a sort of, I think in Holland we call it impresario, so I'm a middleman. So I have the relation with the festivals, with the venues, and I represent my clients, of course. And in that, it's a big game of dependencies. So I can't say to a festival or to a venue like, you have to pay this amount because my artist wants that. So if he doesn't sell out and it makes a loss, then it's bad for me as well, because I will have to talk the next time with a different artist also to the same guy or to the same woman. So that's a dependency, but I also have a dependency, of course, with my artist, and I also have to tell them clearly, like, okay, you know, what I see and from my knowledge of the market, this is what you're worth, and this is about what we can make from a series of tours. So if you're happy with this, we can do it. If you think it's not enough, then I don't know, you know, if I'm the right representative of you. So it's about that sort of game of the dependencies and the sort of clear view of how the market works. Yeah, and I enjoy doing that. I would say the industry before was a real big rat race. I think I liked that everybody had to step back a little bit and maybe rethink what we were doing. On the other hand, I think what we were doing and, you know, sort of spreading culture, spreading art is still a thing to aspire to, and still a thing we should pursue also after the crisis. But yeah, it's been tough in a way for a lot of people, also in my work field, because like artists, we're only paid if the show is happening. And when it happens, and there's so much uncertainty. So I've got a lot of shows in the books, but for the fall, for instance, and I still don't know if it's going to happen. So we have to see. That creates some uncertainty. I'm happy for all the governments that have supported, you know, the industry, but in a way, it's also not enough sometimes. I think a lot of things will still fall down, even if we maybe progress and sort of slowly move out of the pandemic. But I'm not a fortune teller, so let's see what happens. But I'm hopeful for the, let's say, for the soul of the community. Everybody, there's a goodwill to continue. Good question, and I think the pandemic also showed us that the way the scene was working was not always as let's say sustainable as it should be. We had a lot of tours where we had artists going from Helsinki to Sevilla to Hamburg and then to Milano, for instance, and you know, you could only fly. And what I heard from my artists in the years before the pandemic is like, they didn't like being in a plane. So, but at that point, it's really hard to change the way everybody works. And maybe the pandemic gave us an option or an opportunity to start rethink those things. With some other Dutch agencies, we've started an association called United Independent Music Agencies, and basically, I think, yeah, we're 12 other agencies, and we started to take on these subjects, and one of them is, for instance, sustainability, and we've made a Green Rider as a sort of template for our artists that we all represent, and we represent quite some artists. So it basically says there are options for a venue or for a festival to choose, and it's going into a greener direction. So no single-use plastics, the vegetarian or vegan meal option is the standard. If you want something different, if you want meat, you can have it, but you have to explicitly ask for it. All those things, it's a little bit about changing the perspective, and also it's about starting the conversation about how we can do stuff a little bit differently. And this is only the small part of the artist relationship with the venue or with the festival, but we're also looking a little bit more broader than that, and we're also trying to get a sort of European train pass for artists. We're trying to set up a lobby in Brussels for for basically gathering all support to make something like the Interrail pass that you have for youngsters, but maybe see if we can get it for artists as well. The reason for that is, of course, getting the artist out of the plane and into the train. But I also realize it gives an obligation to venues, for instance, to, let's say, program in a sort of in line or in a sort of chain. So when we're on Brussels, our next show will be or in Belgium somewhere, or in Holland, or in the north of France, but no more than 3 hours away. If we can get that and get everybody to sort of comply on that, then I think we're going to make huge steps to a more sustainable world, for instance. We all have the responsibility. So, and maybe it's a small part, but you know, we can have the same discussion if we look at Holland, you know, where I'm from, the Netherlands. I don't know, maybe if we see it's like 0.4% of the global pollution. So should we spend, I don't know, 200 million euros or 200 billion euros on climate change? Yes, because it's about the globe and it's about the whole world and everybody on it. So you can't sort of say like, what I do is irrelevant, so I don't have to comply with it. I think it's a general move, and we all have to do it. And it's not only that I'm working in the music industry, because I also live in society and I also do all my other stuff. You know, I go on vacation, and on all those other elements, the things you do have influence and have an effect. So that's what I think the main reason, and the second reason is we as society should deal with this problem. So we all have the responsibility.